Proud Mouth. Be your own loud.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Be Your Own Loud. For all of you who are joining us live streaming, howdy do. For all of you who are listening to us from a podcasting perspective, hello. Today, I got introduced to our guest today by a friend of ours, Steve Odie, who you guys have all seen on the show. He has a Traveling Optimist podcast. And he introduced me to Louise here. And Louise Budgen is the creator of the Extraordinary Life Success Program and the upcoming program called Unfold. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about her work specifically in her realm. So she has a very specific niche, how she gave herself permission to accept and embrace the niche. And finally, what she really has done to help women rise above the noise and be their own loud. So Louise, welcome to the show.
Wow, Matt, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, we start this off by having you tell us your story. And everybody who listens to this knows that we do a call before we come on the show. And this is a powerful story. I mean, a lot of people who come on the show have powerful stories, but yours was like life and death. I mean, it was a little different. I just wanted to preface that everybody might want to be sitting down for this, or if you're driving, maybe pull over, just because this is an incredibly powerful story. And I think a lot of you are going to start seeing yourself in a lot of the stuff that Louise has gone through. So Louise, where do we begin here?
I'd like to go back over 6 years ago when I was that woman who was juggling many plates. She was in a place where she didn't have any time. She was busy. She had this overriding sort of feeling of sadness and no joy in her life because she was just doing life. She wasn't being in life. In fact, she didn't know how to be in life. And she was doing a career. She had a network marketing business. She was actually going to an event, a network marketing event, when in a car accident on a motorway sent the car spinning, out of control, upside down, turning around. And it was at that moment that my life changed, and it changed for the better, because following that accident, which I do believe there were angels around us, because 4 of us in the car, we came out of an upside down spinning car with no physical injuries apart from some whiplash, but I ended up with post-traumatic stress disorder because it was one of my biggest fears to die in a motorway accident. So I'd faced my biggest fear. The treatment I went on to have to help me get rid of the post-traumatic stress disorder was life-changing. EMDR, eye movement, desensitization and reprogramming. And that then started my wonderful love affair with the mind-body connection. I was actually course directed. I was thrown onto what has always been my path. I now know that in that moment. And I was given the opportunity through synchrodestiny definitely to meet the right people at the right time. The right doors were opening up, the right conversations. I met a coach who helped me work out that that's actually what I needed to do. I wanted to retrain as a coach, and out of my mouth came those very words, I want to be a coach. I hadn't pre-thought that just came out. So that unraveled, did my coach training, thoroughly enjoy being in the moment. I'm an intuitive coach, and I thought I was just a bit weird at the time. How I had this ability to unpick somebody, reveal and peel, as I have come to call it, but in such a beautiful way. On my journey from that point, was getting very successful with some clients, thoroughly enjoying that time being a coach. Cancer came to visit me, and cancer came and cancer left twice. So it came twice, and on both occasions, I really felt my spiritual connection helped guide me to come off chemotherapy. And I'm not saying everybody should come off chemotherapy, but for me, it was the right decision first time round with cancer. Long story. I had made the right decision, because when cancer returned, I was stronger, I was healthier, I'd done my own program. I felt completely guided to do the things that I did for my own self-care, and I put myself in a really strong position to be able to deal with when cancer returned. And cancer is now the furthest away it's been from me. It's over 2 years ago now. I'm cancer free. I'm going to say that. I say that every day. I'm healed. I'm whole. I'm healthy, and I am healthy. I feel healthy, and I feel so alive. And that's what I want to get through to my clients, that there's a difference between living and feeling alive. And
So why did it take a near-death experience and 2 brushes with cancer for you to have this epiphany? Why were you just going through the motions before, and now you have embraced this with the passion? You've embraced it.
I feel very strongly that that was my life's mission, to work that out for myself, Matt. That
Okay.
everybody has a life mission, a soul's purpose. And when you really listen to what your soul's saying within, which is, you and I've talked about this, my soul was whispering to me all the time.
Mhm.
I needed to get out of my own way, but it's almost like I couldn't. I was stuck. I was trapped in this woman that she was not connected to anything. She was just not connected. It was like I wasn't even floating through life. I was just stuck in a place that I didn't know how to move out of. And I do think that in life, that things will come and course correct you if you aren't course correcting yourself, if you aren't learning the lessons. That's my belief.
Sure. Well, I think there are a lot of women who are listening to this and who are going through life and feeling that feeling of stuck, right?
Yeah.
But there's so much that needs to be done to help people get unstuck, right? Where do you even begin?
Well, for myself, speaking from my experience, it was having an honesty audit with myself. I really had to get deep down dirty with myself and think, right, okay. But obviously I was coming to it from a minus position, because I had no hair and I'd had chemotherapy, and I was actually feeling quite ill. But when you start to peel back and really see very clearly who you are, perhaps for the first time, you can then build on that. You can build into that, fantastic self-care. I didn't have a self-care regime at all. I was not anywhere on the priority scheme in my life. I never had been. So that's a really good place to start. And it's not just physical self-care, it's emotional self-care, it's spiritual self-care. Learn to meditate, learn to take yourself off for a walk in nature. Just be, and being has been the best medicine for myself. So I turned from a human doing to a human being. And we are human beings. We should it's not lazy. You shouldn't feel guilty. We should be, because we're supposed to. And in doing that, I realized how much joy and happiness I was able to give myself and heal. And I'm absolutely convinced that that's been a big part of my journey to healing.
What objections do you get, Louise, when you're working with somebody, or when you're through the introductory stage? What are some of the things that you hear on why that's either going to be really difficult, or why they're stuck where they're stuck?
They've got themselves into such a position of overwhelm. They can't see, they can't feel, they're almost numb. They're almost like they're in a coma or in a trance, and that's their life. And they haven't spent any time with themselves. They've been very busy with the house, with the kids, with the family, maybe with the parents, with the husband. They sort everybody else out before themselves. So no time is always, I just haven't got any time. We have to make time. Everybody in this world has 24 hours in every day, and 7 days a week. So how come some people can and some people can't? You have to prioritize. You have to give yourself permission to put yourself at the top of, or even get yourself on the list.
Yeah, you have to put yourself on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you become more, when you have this feeling of calm and harmony and peace within, and I have that now, and I live it's a ripple for everybody. It's a ripple effect for.
But it's not. It's not constant though. I mean, it's something that you have gotten there because of practice, I'm assuming, but people will briefly get into that moment of peace. And then they need to realize that they're out of that alignment. That's one of the words that you use regularly in your program. How do you help people realize that they've gotten sucked back into the noise and they need to get themselves recentered?
Oh, there's many ways to do that. I mean, nature, take yourself on a walk. If you're feeling like you are out of alignment, go out in nature. Even if it's only for 10 minutes, go and look at a plant, go and look at some leaves, or breathing, simple breathing. Anywhere you can do breathing. If you're sitting in the car, if you're taking the kids to school, about to pick the kids up, it's having a toolkit of things to hand that will recenter you back into yourself, because nobody else is going to do it. In fact, if you are out of alignment and you are looking then for somebody else to do it, you are completely looking in the wrong place. Go back, go within, ask yourself, feel what you're feeling. Talk to yourself, talk out loud. I talk out loud all the time.
Yeah, I want to go. I can't believe you just went there, because that was where my question was going to be. That sort of self-talk, right? The things that you say to yourself while you're breathing, while you're recentering, what sort of stuff should people be saying to themselves to make it so that they are able to realign and recenter?
Oh, my favorite is, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. Trust and more trust. Just trust that this is exactly where you're supposed to be. If you're having a really tough time, what is it teaching you? Is it teaching you perhaps to have more patience, or is there a bigger lesson? Trust that it's exactly where you're supposed to be. And even if you can't see in that moment, just trust that that's where you're supposed to be, and it will unfold and it will become apparent why that happened.
We have had a mission here for really since inception of our company, that we've really wanted to try to help the majority percent of the population, have the confidence and have the medium, and for us it's podcasting, but have that medium to get their voice out in the marketplace. What can you do to help increase women's, specifically their confidence, awareness, acceptance of their brilliance? How do you do that? Because I feel like I failed miserably.
You haven't failed miserably.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
So what can I do? I can speak from my heart space. I can allow myself a bigger stage rather than it just be ripple effect through my community. I can come on shows like this and I can talk. I'm a normal person who, up until the beginning of the year, wasn't even on social media. I've had a phobia about speaking publicly all my life. I just want to say that if I can do this, anybody can do this. And if at the core of you have got messages to be more and to become more, don't ignore them. Don't ignore them, because that will just create a ball of resentment and anger and sadness, which is, I think, where I was before the car accident. Okay. There's a reason why I've been put on this planet. There's a reason why every woman has been put on this planet. Bigger than their family. But they have to tune in, they have to plug in to listen to what that is. And it will be something of service. It will be something of service to help other people.
It's interesting because in order to really, it sounds to me like in order to really help other people, you have to first go inward and make sure that you are good with this, because Absolutely. Then when you're, talk about that a little bit more, please.
When you've got that groundedness, when you are firmly grounded in who you are and what you're here to do, your whole energetic being is radiating that back out to anybody that comes into contact with you. So trusting the process of becoming more. You can't become more and still be small, if that makes sense, and quiet. I feel that in becoming more and stepping into that power, you naturally will radiate, and you'll naturally shine so other people can see you.
The people who we have worked with who've either been on the show, are clients of ours, or people who run in those social circles, it's unbelievable how attracted you are to that. People like me are to your radiance, to that radiance. And seeing that unfold is something that you help with. How do you That's a lot of power, Louisa. I mean, it's and everybody who's listening to this knows those people. They walk into a room and everybody turns because there's something there. Does everybody have that, or is that like a minority thing, or how? Break that down some more for me, please.
I believe that everybody has the power to do that for themselves, but it is work that you need to do for yourself. Yes, of course, you can work with a coach and you can speed up the process, of course, and you can look at it from lots of different angles, but invariably you will do the work yourself. You will be with yourself. You will start to understand yourself. You'll connect to yourself. You'll understand more about this beautiful world that we're all born into for this limited amount, such a short amount of time that we're all here for. And hopefully that would supercharge people to think, what is going to be my legacy? What is it I'm here to do? And really get excited on the inside about their own potential. And if they still can't necessarily, so I was nearly 50 when I had that car accident. So I had a very happy life, Matt, don't get me wrong, but actually not as happy and as harmonious and peaceful as I feel now. So it won't always be obvious what you're supposed to do, but just trust that when you do this work, you are going to unfold the next stage of your own evolvement and your own ability to shine. Because it's not just a one fix done or one done fix. I can't remember what the saying is. It's not you do this work for half an hour or an hour and then it's not. We're all work in progress. I'm work in progress. I'm just so pleased that I was able to see the opportunity that was afforded to me when I'd had that car accident. Because I could have sunk down and I didn't. I rose up.
You talk about soul whispers. You brought it up already here, and we had talked about it previously, and I know that's part of your program. What happens if that inner voice, it hasn't guided you well in your life?
It's guided you exactly where you're supposed to be. No matter where you've been, it's exactly where you were supposed to be. So for myself, people may say, but you got cancer twice. You can't. I see that as a huge opportunity for me to learn. There were so many golden nuggets wrapped up in my own cancer journey that I could not possibly have learned had I not had cancer. And that's how I would say, no matter where you've been, or no matter what you haven't learned, there are lessons there. There are lessons. And it's about rising up from the moment that you find yourself in now. We all are, we need to live presently, because presently, as you and I know, is the only moment we actually have. The past has gone and the future has not yet happened. So if life so far hasn't dealt you, then see what happens when you get connected. See what happens. Are you continually allowing that to happen?
I don't think people continually allow that to happen, because I think they're terrified because they feel it has guided them in the wrong direction in the past. Just an example that was outside of business, but people will say, my picker's broken. I am unable to attract, and not necessarily from a mate perspective, but from the right people to surround myself with, because of all of the stuff, the baggage, the things that we carry with us through life. a lot of times with a near-death experience, a lot of that baggage seems to miraculously disappear because you are allowed to refocus without having to get that close to dying. And for you, 3 times, right?
Mm.
How can somebody detach that baggage that they're carrying with them so that they can empower themselves and they can rise above the noise? How can you do that without being forced in such a position that a near-death experience puts you in?
I think the decision to do it is a really good starting point of actually deciding to take the first steps to maneuver yourself potentially out of what has become the norm. Let's have a look at, I don't want to be in this space anymore, so how can I move out of this space? Because as I said, it's not work that you do quickly. This is unfolding over, periods of time, and maybe different treatments you may need. You may need to see a therapist. Some people do need to see a therapist. Some people need to work with a coach. And if you find a coach that thinks they're a therapist, avoid them, because they're not. That's not what a coach is. It's about making the decision to do the work, I would say, no matter what that work actually looks like, because you may not know. You may know the first step, but you may not know 4, 5, 6. And that doesn't matter until you get to 4, 5, 6. But it's the decision to do the work.
There's a old Japanese saying called Kaizen, which is continuous gradual improvement, but it's just taking that first step. They always say, here in the West, when we want to climb a mountain, the first thing that we do is we go buy all of the equipment, we get our Sherpa, we do all of that stuff. And in Eastern philosophy, that first, in order to climb the mountain, you actually take a step toward the mountain, and you don't know what's going to happen. And for those people who are so concerned about how their past is affecting them today, in this moment, and they're also so focused on what is potentially going to happen, because if they do speak up, if they do gain their power, that they don't know what's going to happen. How do you turn those two things off, or how do you allow people to plug their ears and not listen to those two things? Or do you, because the future is absolutely unknown and is a gift that not everybody has, and the past is something we can't do a damn thing about?
Yeah. Again, I think it comes down to that feeling of being grounded and that feeling of connection. And I love the word trust. And if you have a coin and on one side you've got trust, on the other side you've got fear, one side of that coin can only be in the up position at any one time. So leave it in the trust position, and know when you've slipped into the fear position, trust that whatever you want for yourself, life is working for you. It's not working against you. But if you decide that, I could have said, oh, I've got cancer again, I could have worried myself into a grave, and I could have done. Mm-hmm. But I trusted. In fact, that coin came in really handy for me at that time, because I just trusted from that moment that I got that second diagnosis. I thought, no, this is not for me. I'm going to be fine. And I really, truly trusted. So it's about getting the hope and the trust that you can give yourself, because other people can say, oh, you're going to be fine, Louise, but you have to believe it. You have to believe it. And belief, as we know, is so, so strong in how our lives turn out.
And believing in yourself first does allow for belief outside of yourself to be even stronger. Now, you have a couple of different programs that you run, and the newest one, Unfold, is specifically directed towards women. Why?
Oh, why? I'm 56. I see a lot of women, even as young as 40 onwards, my age and above, really struggling with life, when in fact life hasn't, not because they haven't got the money. These women, to be honest, Matt, have got the money. They've got all the societal keys of success. They've got the nice house, they've got the nice car, they've got enough money, but they're miserable. They're actually, because they're not fulfilled. They aren't listening to themselves. They aren't really stepping into their own power. And so they're living a half life, that they're alive, but they're living, but they're not alive. And I've been doing some surveys recently, and this has really struck me as a really sad thing, because if we can reactivate these women into being their beautiful souls that they are, they can have a ripple effect no matter what they do, even if they just step into their own happiness and then their family's happier. You know, they feel, they're not feeling good right now. So I'm wanting to help these women really get connected to be able to become more, so that they can give more in their lifetime and feel more and feel alive. They don't feel alive. They really don't feel alive. They're going through the motions of life, and they have everything on the outside, but they haven't got the connection on the inside. And I feel that I probably could have been a candidate for that had I not been course corrected through the accident and through cancer. And so, I feel really strongly that I want to help this woman, because perhaps she may have tried counselling because she does feel a bit miserable, but counselling's not what she needs. And maybe she's gone to the doctor and the doctor said, oh, you need some antidepressants. That's not what she needs. Or maybe she's gone to the doctor and he said he needs HRT. That's not what they need. They need to unfold. They need to know who they are.
Culturally, it seems that women have been forced into always focusing so much on everybody else that they haven't given themselves, or society doesn't allow them to have the permission to focus here first. What could we do as a society to help facilitate that?
What could we do to facilitate that? I think we could bring it out into the open space that actually we are, as women bringing up children, supporting husbands, of doing their own careers. There's a lot of work going on here, and actually you are as important as everybody else. You really are as important as everybody else. And step up. And stepping up doesn't mean, I think there's this thing, isn't there, about be a bit selfish, but that doesn't turn you into psycho bitch from hell. It's being selfish. It's looking after yourself, isn't it? Because when you look after yourself first, you can look after everybody else in a much calmer, better fashion, can't you? But when we don't, so that what can we do? We can talk about this more. We can say, you know, it's hard work bringing up children. It's hard work juggling the career and the kids, and yes, not everybody has that partner or that person who does do as much. And that's no disrespect to men, because I know there's a lot of men that do a lot. That's not what this is about.
Right.
But I think we need to help ourselves. We perhaps need to say no to ourselves more and yes to ourselves more in equal measure, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that because I don't need to do that, and that's not important, but this is important for me to do this. So it's a balance, as life is. It's a balance, isn't it? And we're all unique, and every single family is unique. So there will always be what suits one family will not suit another. What one suits one woman won't suit another. And that's what I like to help women do, is to get connected to what works for them, not what works for their friend down the road and copy that. This is not what this is about. And, you know, if going to the gym is not suited to you, find what does suit you.
How can people find out more about you?
So I have started on Instagram not that long ago. So I would say that's probably the best place to find me, Louise.Budgen. I'm also on Facebook and on LinkedIn, but I'm probably more active on Instagram.
Okay.
I also have louisebudgen.com, which gives some background to myself. So yes, I'm on there as well.
And we will make sure that we have all of those links in the show notes. What should I have asked you that I didn't?
What didn't? What has changed for me since I last spoke to you?
Oh, I like that question. All right, answer that.
I've just got more connected. I've just I've stepped further into the joy of being me, and I want that for other women. I really do, because when you do step into the joy of being yourself in a happy, calm, every day is it's like a miracle. And that sounds a bit profound, but you know, the blue sky, the blue in the sky is bluer, the green, it's my whole lens of life has just been magnified to one of sheer awe and beauty and gratitude. And I can't tell you how wonderful that is. And it really is an amazing feeling. And I know that that's come through my own work on myself. So anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. I'm not special in any way. I'm just like anybody else. So yeah, it's about getting that connection to self, and the work you put in, you'll never be disappointed. It's a beautiful place to hang out. And I said this to my coach recently. I said, I'm just going to go in the woods and I'm going to hang out within myself, because that's the coolest place to hang out. And not everybody will do that. They'll go and look on the outside for coffee with a friend, or the TV, or to read a book. Go and hang out with yourself. It's the best place to hang out, to get that realignment and love. It's lovely. So I feel I've been supercharged since I spoke to you.
Nice. Well, I hope that everybody who's listening to this realizes that hanging out with yourself is the coolest place that you should be hanging out. You should be hanging out there more often. And if you don't think it's the coolest place, you need to open your eyes and really appreciate your uniqueness and the opportunity and the brilliance that you can bring into the world. And number 2, start here and then focus outward. So many people who've listened to this show have heard so many people say the same sorts of things, that in order for you to truly, be your own loud and rise above the noise and get your voice out and feel like you're spreading your wings and you're making a difference, it all starts here inside. And once you can feel comfortable within your own skin, everything else all of the sudden starts kind of opening up and cascading and giving you opportunity. So Louise, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the work that you do. We'll make sure that everybody can connect with you on all of those social media platforms, especially Instagram. Check her out on her website. And I greatly want to thank you for taking some time and helping us learn how to be healed, whole, and healthy. And what you can do, what all of us can do to be more comfortable in our own skin, so we can just be better across the board. So thanks.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And, any challenges, they're fantastic opportunities to learn. So don't be fearful.
If you have not subscribed to this yet, please make sure that you do subscribe to not only the live stream, but the podcast. If you have any comments or questions, you can reach out to me on social media, especially on LinkedIn. And last but not least, if you know somebody who really needs to hear this, and I know that many of you know people who could listen to this podcast with Louise, and it could give them just that little push in order for them to truly change their lives and start living the way that they want to truly just be themselves and give themselves the confidence that they have, please make sure that you share the podcast by clicking that share button below. So for Louise and all of us here at Proudmouth, this is Matt Halloran, and we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.